Karl Eggerss is chief trader at LafferFishberg.com. He joins us live out of the CME in Chicago now. Karl, great to see you, and good evening your side. I'm just wondering whether or not markets are getting a little bit ahead of themselves, because it wasn't just equities, it was dollar, it was oil, it was everything going in there, anticipating more stimulus from China. I mean, because nothing has actually come out of the National People's Congress yet.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Like the U.S., that's exactly what's been happening here over the past few months. There's an announcement made, there's a news-related bounce, usually a technical bounce, and then it fades as people really look into the details. But you nailed it, because you're saying exactly what's going on, which is it's announced, it hasn't happened, and we don't know where it's targeted. And I think really for January and February for the Dow Jones in the United States, we saw a real adjustment down as all these policies from Washington came down, and the stimulus wasn't targeted in the right place. And I think capital is obviously going to flow wherever it can that business is friendly. And I think over the long run, that is still China. You know, we know 2 years ago, 3 years ago, everybody said China would be the great growth. That's where that would be a fuel for all of this. That's still true. Yeah. America is the stable one of all. And then we have Europe, who is kind of the grandparent that's aging and having a lot of problems. And I think that's still the three categories there.
Karl, just to update you, we are hearing from the Chinese news agency Xinhua that Premier Wen has said substantial government investment is needed to counter the crisis. So this could be a precursor to an announcement on extra stimulus. Let me just ask you about commodities, because they were a big beneficiary of this speculation that we could see more spending coming out of China to revive the economy. Are commodities a buy now, or would you recommend selling into any rally?
No, I think they are a buy now. I think I bought some Freeport-McMoRan today, for example. A lot of these stocks, even oil looks good, copper looks good. However, it's very difficult because you still have to treat them like a trade right now. But if there's one investment, if I had a gun to my head and you said, what was the one investment you could make right now and you'd have to keep for 3 or 4 years, it would be commodities. And especially the commodities where we see that people have to have those things like agricultural commodities, water, infrastructure, those types of things. Those commodities, to me, are really the ones that I want to be invested in. And whether it's through the companies or through the commodities, I really like those areas.
Well, Karl, Karen Cho jumping in here. Do you subscribe to the theory that China has been stockpiling commodities and inventories ahead of the stimulus package that we're likely to hear?
Yeah, I think, look, when we all know when oil goes to $140, $150 a barrel, there's lots of companies. Citigroup's been doing it, stockpiling oil sitting out in the ocean. And I think China's probably doing the same thing, because everybody knows over the long run, these commodities do have to come back.
Yeah, Karl, listen, let's be straight about this. I mean, the markets are getting excited, anticipating more stimulus, because at the end of the day, they're going, finally, there's demand somewhere. But, you know, you like commodities on this play, but it's not so much, it's a trade on maybe a short or at least medium-term spike in demand, but longer term, the story for commodities is more because supply is tight and is likely to stay tight for some time.
That's right, exactly. Supply is going to remain tight. Demand will eventually come back. But really, I'm looking for the areas that were beaten down the most. A lot of people like to say, well, what's safe right now? You know, do we go to the consumer staple stocks? No, usually when a market's fallen this much this fast, you go to the areas beaten up the most, and commodities certainly fit that. And that's why that's the area that I'm focusing right now.